Welcome everybody, Steve here. All right, we're going to address the bed of your truck box today. Now, if you're like me, when I'm doing a restoration, I really like the inside of my box to be nice, painted, and you know, we could have gone out, bought a new floor for this, but you know, up here, Canada, I think it's a couple $1,000 just to buy this floor. It's a little bit ridiculous. So I'm going to spend a few hours, probably more than a few hours, and I'm going to do the body work on it. You know, this truck bed looks pretty good. If we were to paint it, you know, you'd see, you know, some dents, some waves, this and that. But for the most part, anything that's, you know, any damage that's on here is fairly minor. So we're going to be able to fix that. And we're just going to try and keep it as simple as possible. This can be so complicated that you'll just want to abandon your project. But I did a little bit of off-camera work on this and kind of figured out a method that really works well for me, and I'm going to pass it along. Now, this has been sandblasted. Now, when you're doing body work, you're going to have to do something that, you know, where the body filler is going to adhere. So a sandblasted surface really works well. You can also, you know, if you sandblasted and epoxied it and you want to do it later, you could do that as well. I'm not going to take the grinder to this. This would take just way too much time and it's not really worth it. So let's get going. I'm going to show you what I do. Now, little brother, he did his best. He tried to do a little bit of body work on some of the spots. You know, this box was shortened, so you know, we have a seam here, you know, that was welded, and yeah, he's really good at the mechanical stuff and the welding. He's doing an awesome job at that. But the body work, yeah, you gotta have that touch. And if you're thinking about doing your own body work, hey, that's awesome, because that gives you a chance to be an artist. And in my opinion, people that can do body work and, you know, do drywall mudding and all that kind of stuff, those guys that's just being an artist. So let's get started on this. Okay, so we're sandblasted, everything looks good, and I went and took the box out and made sure that, you know, the rust pits were all sandblasted nice. You know, it was done once. I did it again on some spots. You don't really want to put filler over, you know, rust pits or anything like that. It's just not cool. But let's get started. I'm going to go mix up some filler, and I'll show you where I start and how I finish. Okay, we want this to look like this. So make sure everything's all blowing off. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start with the sides first. We're not going to do body filler everywhere because it's almost an impossible thing to do, and you want your life to go as easy as possible. So we're going to start with the sides, and because we're only doing a couple, we can do the top as well. But usually if I'm doing, like say, half a dozen or so, I'll just do the sides. Mix up some filler. Don't mix up too much. This is a slow process, and your filler is it's just gonna set up on you. Now, we're gonna put this on fairly quick and thick. You'll see in a bit. Make sure you press it in. You want some good adhesion. You don't want any air bubbles. Okay, and then we're gonna refine it a little bit. Just drag along the bottom. I know it's hard for you to see that. I'll show you the next one. The other side. I don't want too much filler on the bottom. And then I usually just take my spatula, just drag it along. Of course, I got a cootie in there. And then I'll just take it off the top. Okay. Anything that's on the bottom here, you got a little bit, just give it a little scrape. It's not too bad. You add a little cootie, you can sand that off quick anyway. Okay, wasting time. Just real light so you get it nice and even. I think I would probably just leave the top. You don't have to scrape it off, you don't want to. So you'll see my next step there. That looks really good. Starters. You know, it's kind of this is you know, you gotta kind of work fast here. It's unfortunate, but that's just the way it is. Because you don't want to spend the rest of your life doing this. And that's the hardest part for beginner body guys. You know, they're a little tentative on putting down the filler. Oh yeah, look at that stroke. That was a really nice stroke right there. Enough. Now, for I feel bad for all you that live in these really hot environments. You know, filler sets up so quick sometimes. You know where I'm at right now, you know, there's snow on the ground, it's kind of cool. And it's not too bad in the shop. But man, if it gets, if it's really hot, you know, you really gotta honk on it to get everything all done. All right. One more side. All right, we're kind of set up here. We're not hard yet. Now, you're gonna have to decide what you want to do from here. Like, you can go ahead, let this set up a little bit. I don't like to let it set up until it gets really hard, because then you're working too hard. I'd like to have it, there's always a little sweet spot, and you're gonna have to kind of figure that out for yourself, where body filler really sounds nice. And it's usually, you know, about another 10 minutes after this, it'll start getting a little bit harder, and it won't gum up your paper. I like to start when it's a little softer, but then you have to keep working your paper all the time. And on here, you don't have, you know, big areas to deal with, so it's not that big of a deal. But what I use is, I got a broken body file, probably got stepped on years ago, and I've ground the edge off so that I can file right along the edge. And I just give it a real light little stroke, not too much, but that'll just help you straighten it out a little bit, and it takes off, you know, a little bit of the bulk. This is a game changer, especially on this. And then if you have any thicker cooties on the bottom, you just do a little file job and they come right off. Time to get some sanding done. Now, I'm using 80 grit, and just got my block. And then I've got another block here. These are, you know, just the Velcro ones. And I really like this system a lot. Now what I did was I cut my paper in half so that I don't have a round corner, and I'm only sanding on one edge, if that makes any sense. Because if you got this side here, we're not going to use this to sand the edge. We use this to sand the bottom. But get yourself some good blocks, even if you use a stick and just put a piece on there. That's all you need, something rigid that you can get in there. And you'll see that a little bit more in detail in a bit. So I'm just using my 40 grit. Now, you could go with 80 grit, let it dry a little bit more, then go with the 80 grit. But my thinking is, when I'm done this, I'm going to use a polyester filler, well, feather fill, so spray on. And so the 80 grit scratches, you know, they don't really worry me right now. It's a lot of work. Every time you do a step doing this, that's a lot of work. So if we can reduce the steps, it's going to reduce the anxiety and you're going to have a lot more fun. Well, fun-er. So all I'm going to do is just, I'm not really honking on her hard. You just want to go nice and easy. You'd be surprised at how quick it'll go with 40 grit. So let's get masked up here. Now I know most of you are thinking, you know, this guy's crazy doing all this work on the bed of a truck, but sometimes in life you don't have any choices. If you want something, you got to do it. Now I like to use my or sand when it's a little softer, so my block gets a little bit plugged up. And all you do is blow it off, or you can beat it with a wire or whatever you want to do. There, sides are all sanded. Yeah, you really don't realize how many dents are in your truck box until you put a little filler on there. Now I'm just going to use my block here just to go down the bottom, just to get any high little cooties. You can see how this is nice, because if this was bent over and I'm sanding over here, this is going to sand into my side. So that's why I like a sharp edge. That's the nice thing about YouTube. Somebody else has done all the work trying to figure out all the details. Same on the top. I want to make sure that when we do the top, we haven't got any high spots. This one's done already. All right, I'll go mix up some filler. Be right back. Now here's the other game changer. I got a little plastic spatula. I just cut it the size I wanted, and it kind of fits right in here. It's a little bit wider, but when you press down on it, it fills the bottom really nice. Like I even took and ground a metal one, see if it would work. Yeah, it doesn't work that well. But I really like this little plastic guy. And just concentrate some filler down the middle, and then you just come along. It fills it just like magic. Do a couple strokes so you eliminate your, well, most of your pinholes anyway. And that looks really, really good. And then so for the tops, you know, it's pretty simple. Just, you can run down the middle with your filler first. Oh, there we got a big goober over here. Just take your time on the top. Doesn't have to be as pretty. Go along your edge. Clean it up. Eliminate as much work as you can. Got a little too much filler on that one. Looking good. Just a nice light file. You've done a nice job putting the filler in. You don't need to do too much. But it does help. Less sanding the better. Alright, now all I have to do is sand it out. Keep my sharp edge against my, my bevel here. And this fits in here. But if you just keep going straight, what's going to happen is you're going to put grooves, straight grooves down your filler. So what I like to do is I'll just kind of go on a bit of an angle. And start on one edge, and then you can come over, flip it. Now, sanding by hand gives you an anxiety. I hooked up my oscillating saw here. I got a little piece of Velcro, and then I just stick a chunk of 40 grit in there. I guess you gotta plug it in, eh? But it works. Now what I'll use this for, more or less, is sanding the primer. Because you're not gonna get real straight body work with just a little, you know, pad that big. It does work, and it's kind of zen-like. So, you know, if you're looking for another option, there you go. Alright, blow this off, keep going. Now normally what I would do, I put my filler on, and while this one's setting up, I'll move over and put another batch of filler a little farther over, just to keep everything going. because you don't want this, like I said, you don't want this to last the rest of your life. So you want to just kind of keep moving. I know you have to work harder, but then the job gets done. Nice thing too about sanding when your filler's a little softer, if you got a little spot on the edge, this sands off easy and it won't affect what you've sanded before because it's already set up. Okay, well, looks like we're looking pretty darn good here. Got a little bit of a low spot there. I'll just dabble them in when I do the next row. But so now we're just about done. But what, you know, the top's got a little bit of a round edge because we've gone square. What I'll do is I'll use an 80 grit for that. That way you don't go too far. And that's all there is to it. Simple. Well, everything is simple. It just takes time. So, when you're doing stuff like this, always keep a pencil around. Get a little pinhole, give it a mark. Pretty hard to come back and figure out where everything is at the end. Little spot right there. Looking really good. I think once we get some polyester primer on here, I know that's going to be a tough job sanding it, but I think it's going to save us some time and a step. So now, it's unfortunate that we're not done yet. I'm going to start at the front, I'm going to work my way back. I think that's the answer. Well, it's my answer. So much for a brown Christmas. This happened last night. A lot of snow removal going on today. Just tuning up the odd little dent we got on the side piece here. Now, I'm gonna just kind of finish up the back end. We have it off the rotisserie. So that allows me to kind of get the bodywork done back here. I got the floor done. So what I want to do is I'm going to prime it before I put it back on the rotisserie. That way I don't have anything bulky in the way here, and I can get at the back. So that's the goal today. We want to get this ready, get it prepped up, and then get it ready so that we can get some primer on it. Floor looks great. Going to show you that in a second. Well, she looks good. It took some time. Best advice I can give you is get some good knee pads. But hopefully it was worth it. Of course it was. It's going to look beautiful. These trucks, they fetch a pretty good dollar now. And even the ones that are out there, you know, they've all got that box liner in them. Sprayed on box liner. Because it's just easier. So we're going to make sure that, you know, even though these panels look like they're in pretty good shape, you know, there's a lot of little dents. But don't leave any panel unskimmed, because that's going to come back and bite you after you get your primer on. You're going to find that one dent and you're going like, man, you know, if I would have just spent another 5 minutes getting everything all done right. These old trucks have gone through a lot. They've done a lot of work, hauled a lot of stuff. Unless you find one of those barn finds, you know, where they put a cover over top of it when they bought it and just left it, but I doubt you're going to find that. At least not up here. Relax here. This file here with the, you know, the edge ground to the very edge of the teeth, man, I tell you what, that is really beneficial in some of these tight spots. I gotta, because it goes this way and it goes up. I just got the edges left to do. I'm just using 80 grit, and yeah, it turned out pretty good. Like these spots here where it looks high. See if you can see that. Yep. There's a brace underneath here, and that's where it's welded. So we filled it in a little bit where the spot welds were. It's gonna look better than it did, that's for sure. So now I just got the edges, And tomorrow we're ready for primer. Time to start priming. Just going to give it the last little blow here. And not going to be able to film this. I got no room in here for my camera. Normally what I do is I open up my door and then I put the camera outside and then film it, if I can. But I got no room this way and it's winter time, so it's going to be too cold. But anyway, I'm going to show you in between. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to hit it with a coat of epoxy primer, and then we're going with the polyester primer on top. So we need a epoxy down first. So I'm going to hit it with that, and then 2 coats of polyester primer. Man, it's exciting. Epoxy primer's on. Things are looking good. Time for some primer. Alright, she's all done. Now we just have to let her dry up and we'll see how she sands out. It always looks better after primer though. Just playing around, seeing how this Featherfill sands, and it's been dried now for 3 days, and I'm just going straight with 320 on the palm sander, and you know what? It works. It sands really quite nice, a lot better than I thought it was going to sand. So when I'm ready to prep, I'm just going to use the palm sander as much as I can. Use my little oscillating saw here, my little setup, and I just want to go 320, and then I'm going to put a coat of epoxy primer on and go right to paint. I don't want to spend too much time on this. That's why I'm using a palm sander. You're not going to catch me doing very much hand sanding on this. You know, on the flats we can use block, you know, to kind of make it a little straighter. But no, I'm quite impressed. I think that what I did is going to work for me, and I think it can work for you. If you're really serious about making the inside of your box look good, nothing wrong with doing what I just did. And you'll find your own little technique, you know, that's going to work the best for you. But yeah, I'm an old guy, so you know, if I can do it, you can do it. So thanks for watching this one. We'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.